In this video, I'm going to grade every Super Bowl MVP in NFL history. It should be noted that there are no bad performances on this list, but there are levels to this shit. Enjoy. Super Bowl I, Bart Starr. A low volume but very high efficiency outing that spearheaded a blowout win. Although shout out to Green Bay wide receiver Max McGee for putting up 138 yards and 2 touchdowns while hungover. Grade A. Super Bowl II, Bart Starr. Starr repeated as Super Bowl MVP the next year, although his production was just good, not great, and one could argue for his teammates Willie Davis, 3 sacks, or Herb Adderley, a 60-yard pick 6 to win the award. Grade B-. Super Bowl III, Joe Namath. One of the worst Super Bowl MVPs ever that is propped up historically due to Namath's pregame guarantee and the historical impact of New York's win. It was a solid, steady outing, but I would have given the award to New York running back Matt Snell, who had 161 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. Grade D. Super Bowl IV, Len Dawson. Dawson's Super Bowl MVP is a great example of a quarterback getting the award by default. There were no standouts at the other skill positions or defensively, although several Kansas City defenders had sacks and interceptions. It was just a solid game manager performance, really. Grade C-. Super Bowl V, Chuck Howley. The only Super Bowl MVP ever from the losing team. It speaks to how awful of a game Super Bowl V was that Howley won. He did have 2 interceptions, so it's not like his performance was bad by any means, but like Dawson the year prior, there were no real standouts, even for the winning team. Grade C-. Super Bowl VI, Roger Staubach. Staubach was basically asked to just not fuck up while Dallas's run game did most of the heavy lifting, and that's exactly what happened. A classic game manager performance with nice efficiency, but not nearly enough volume to be considered great, in my opinion. Grade C. Super Bowl VII, Jake Scott. Scott had 2 interceptions to help cap off Miami's perfect season with the Super Bowl win, a game in which Miami's defense gave up 0 points. I have no qualms with this, although Larry Zonka deserves mention for his 112 yards on just 15 carries. Grade B-. Super Bowl VIII, Larry Zonka. Zonka's 145 yards on 33 carries won't blow anybody away on a per carry basis, but he deserved this award as he did the heavy lifting for Miami's offense that was extremely run-oriented. Bonus points for his amazing porn stash. Grade C+. Super Bowl IX, Franco Harris. Much like Zonka did for Miami the year prior, Harris did most of the heavy lifting for Pittsburgh's first Super Bowl win. Although his performance is hurt a little bit by 2 fumbles, one of which was a turnover. Still, he was the standout performer of the game. Grade C+. Super Bowl X, Lynn Swann. Swann's performance in Super Bowl X lives on in NFL lore and highlight reels for his graceful and acrobatic catches. I have no disagreements with him winning, although Terry Bradshaw averaging over 11 yards per attempt with a 122.5 passer rating and 2 touchdowns with no turnovers deserves mention as well. Grade B-. Super Bowl XI, Fred Biletnikoff. Biletnikoff had a solid but unspectacular outing in Super Bowl XI, and quite frankly, I'm puzzled by this selection. Oakland's offense was effective largely due to their run game and a steady performance by Ken Stabler. I would have given the award to either Stabler or Clarence Davis, who had 137 yards rushing. Grade D. Super Bowl XII, Randy White and Harvey Martin. The only time in Super Bowl history where 2 players tied for Super Bowl MVP. Defensive stats from the 1970s aren't as detailed as today, so Martin having 2 sacks and White having 1 sack resulting in Super Bowl MVPs is just kind of whatever. Shout out to Randy Hughes though, who had an interception and 2 fumble recoveries for Dallas. Grade C-. Super Bowl XIII, Terry Bradshaw. Bradshaw in Super Bowl XIII is the first time a quarterback combined great volume and efficiency to win Super Bowl MVP. Pittsburgh needed every bit of Bradshaw's 4 touchdown passes, as the much revered Pittsburgh defense was surprisingly uneven in this one. His performance is dinged though by him committing 3 turnovers, including a fumble that was returned for a Dallas touchdown. Still, considering the era, this was a great performance. Grade A-. Super Bowl XIV, Terry Bradshaw. A really interesting selection, as Bradshaw once again had 3 turnovers and more interceptions than touchdowns, but he averaged a ridiculous 14.7 yards per attempt and had a clutch 73-yard dime touchdown to John Stallworth in the 4th quarter to put Pittsburgh ahead for good. Pittsburgh's run game wasn't great and there were no defensive standouts, so I guess Bradshaw won by default. Grade C. Super Bowl XV, Jim Plunkett. A real no-brainer selection here, no offense to Kim Kardashian. Plunkett's efficiency was off the charts great and he did it without committing any turnovers in a blowout win versus my Eagles. Although I will give a shout out to Oakland linebacker Rod Martin, who had 3 interceptions. Grade A+. Super Bowl XVI, Joe Montana. Montana's first Super Bowl appearance and first Super Bowl MVP is by far the weakest of his career. He threw for a touchdown and ran for a touchdown in a solid and steady but unspectacular performance. This is another example of the quarterback getting Super Bowl MVP by default. Grade C. Super Bowl 17, John Riggins. A throwback performance to the days of the Zonka Dolphins, Riggins carried the ball an astounding 38 times for 166 yards, including a memorable 43-yard touchdown run early in the fourth to give Washington the lead for good. A nice outing, but a little too low on efficiency to be great in my opinion. Grade B-. Super Bowl 18, Marcus Allen. A pretty easy choice when a guy runs for 191 yards on 9.6 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns, including a classic 74-yard touchdown run to effectively seal the game. Grade A+. Super Bowl 19, Joe Montana. Super Bowl 19 was a dominant all-around performance by Montana with virtually zero flaws. He threw for 331 yards, 3 touchdown passes, ran for almost 60 yards, and another touchdown, and he did so without committing a turnover in a blowout win. Grade A+. Super Bowl 20, Richard Dent. About 10 different Bears players could have won Super Bowl MVP here. Chicago had 7 combined sacks, 2 interceptions, over 400 yards of offense, including a very good outing from Jim McMahon, and a 100-yard receiver in Willie Gault. Dent had 1.5 sacks, but not even the most sacks on Chicago. Basically, Dent was picked out of a hat in my opinion. Grade C. Super Bowl 21, Phil Simms. Known nowadays for his terrible announcing and analysis, it's easy to forget that Simms actually owns the most efficient outing in Super Bowl history among quarterbacks. He had as many touchdown passes as incompletions and even added 25 yards on the ground. A truly magnificent performance from an unexpected place. Grade A+. Super Bowl 22, Doug Williams. Much like Simms the year before, Williams ran a train on Denver through the air, throwing for 340 yards and 4 touchdowns on his way to a 32-point blowout win. It's still mind-blowing today to watch Washington put up 35 points in the second quarter after falling behind by 10. Grade A+. Super Bowl 23, Jerry Rice. Rice's outing in Super Bowl 23 kinda gets overlooked due to Montana's fourth quarter heroics and game-winning touchdown pass to John Taylor, but his 215 receiving yards and fourth quarter touchdown catch speak for itself. Still the most receiving yards in a Super Bowl to this day. Grade A+. Super Bowl 24, Joe Montana. Super Bowl 24 was the peak of Montana's career, as he capped off his best season with arguably the best performance in Super Bowl history and the biggest blowout win in Super Bowl history. Throwing for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns in essentially 3 quarters, there's a good chance he could have thrown 7 or 8 touchdowns if San Fran didn't call off the dogs. No offense to Michael Vick. Grade A+. Super Bowl 25, Otis Anderson. Quite honestly, one of the weaker Super Bowl MVPs, Anderson had a steady performance, running for 102 yards and a touchdown, but truth be told, he wasn't even the best running back on the field that day. Thurman Thomas was. If Scott Norwood was more accurate, nobody would remember this performance from Anderson, but alas, New York won, so Anderson won this. Grade D+. Super Bowl 26, Mark Rypien. Rypien's performance gets a little underrated by passer rating, as he averaged a stellar 8.9 yards per attempt with just 1 interception. He drove Washington's offense up and down the field all game long against Buffalo. If he padded his stats with a couple goal line touchdowns, his performance would be better remembered. Grade B. Super Bowl 27, Troy Aikman. Aikman's performance in Super Bowl 27 is pretty overlooked as far as great Super Bowl performances go. He absolutely went to town on Buffalo from the very beginning in a 35-point blowout win. Aikman's performance in the playoffs from 1992 to 1995 gets overlooked tremendously in general. Grade A+. Super Bowl 28, Emmitt Smith. A throwback performance to the days of John Riggins. Smith didn't have a great yards per carry, just 4.4, but he carried the rock 30 times and had almost 160 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns, both coming in the second half where Dallas outscored Buffalo 24-0. A very good outing that falls short of being legendary. Grade B-. Super Bowl 29, Steve Young. Young silenced all the doubters who said he couldn't win a ring in dominant fashion in Super Bowl 29, throwing a still-standing Super Bowl record 6 touchdown passes and even adding 49 yards on the ground. Young's all-around talents were on full display in this one, and he reached heights very few quarterbacks have ever reached. Grade A+. Super Bowl 30, Larry Brown. One of the greatest what-the-fuck Super Bowl MVPs ever. Little known Larry Brown achieved this honor thanks to 2 absolutely terrible and errant throws by Pittsburgh quarterback Neil O'Donnell. This is the perfect example of being in the right place at the right time, and Brown even got a major contract out of it. Grade C-. Super Bowl 31, Desmond Howard. The only special teamer to ever win Super Bowl MVP, Howard's most famous moment was his 99-yard kickoff return touchdown to stave off a New England rally late in the third quarter. He also had a 34-yard punt return, although overall there were several Green Bay players who could have won Super Bowl MVP, including Reggie White, who had 3 sacks. Grade C. Super Bowl 32, Terrell Davis. Davis spearheaded a Denver offense that was heavily reliant on its ground game, as he put up 153 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. He famously overcame a migraine in this game, and the only real blemish on his performance was a lost fumble to start the second half that set up Green Bay with a short field. Overall, a very good outing. Grade B-. Super Bowl 33, John Elway. Elway's final career game and fifth Super Bowl appearance was by far his best, as he averaged 11.6 yards per attempt, including an 80-yard touchdown to Rod Smith. He also ran for a touchdown for good measure. His only hiccup was a tipped interception early that made his stats look slightly worse than they should. Grade B. Super Bowl 34, Kurt Warner. The greatest underdog story ever, who came out of nowhere, capped off his magical 1999 season with a 414-yard, 2-touchdown performance and a Super Bowl win. Warner's final touchdown was a 73-yard touchdown to Isaac Bruce with under 2 minutes left to take the lead for good. His accuracy was a little off at times, but he came through when it mattered most. Grade B+. Super Bowl 35, Ray Lewis. By far the classiest Super Bowl MVP of all time. White suit enthusiast Ray Lewis was the best player on the legendary 2000 Ravens defense, although his Super Bowl MVP can be highly debated. He played well, putting up 5 tackles and 4 pass deflections, but this is a great example of a default award. Baltimore had 4 interceptions and 4 sacks, and Lewis had none of them. Grade D+. Super Bowl 36, Tom Brady. Everybody's favorite quarterback, am I right, folks? Brady's first Super Bowl appearance was a classic game manager outing. He had a nice touchdown pass to David Patton just before the end of the first half, but he led New England's offense to just 13 points and had just 145 yards passing. He did have his patented dink and dunk drive to set up Vinatieri's game-winning field goal, but in my opinion, Ty Law should have won for his pick 6, 7 tackles, and a tackle for loss. Grade D. Super Bowl 37, Dexter Jackson. Jackson won this award for picking off Rich Gannon twice in the first half. This is pretty similar to Richard Dent's Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 20. There were so many choices that could have gotten it. Dwight Smith had 2 pick 6s, Derek Brooks had a pick 6 and a tackle for loss, Simeon Rice had 2 sacks and a forced fumble, Michael Pittman had 124 yards rushing, etc. Jackson, I guess, was just lucky. Grade D+. Super Bowl 38, Tom Brady. The first real great playoff performance of Brady's career came in Super Bowl 38 versus Carolina. He threw for over 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, including another game-winning drive that was helped set up by John Casey kicking the ball out of bounds. Outside of a bad end zone interception in the fourth quarter, Brady was really good in this one. Bottom line, when he needed to make plays, he did. The story of his career, unfortunately. Grade A-. Super Bowl 39, Deion Branch. Branch tied a then Super Bowl record with 11 catches for 133 yards, including several huge ones in the third and fourth quarters to help set up New England's scoring drive. Despite Branch's great outing, I would have given the award to legendary fair play advocate Rodney Harrison, who had 12 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a sack to slow down a potent Philly offense. Grade C-. Super Bowl 40, Hines Ward. A pretty easy choice considering the options. Ward had an 18-yard run and also 123 receiving yards, including the game-sealing 43-yard touchdown to go up 11 in the fourth quarter. It was a pretty sloppy game, and the only other real MVP candidate would be Willie Parker. A solid performance overall. Grade C. Super Bowl 41, Peyton Manning. The only Super Bowl MVP of Peyton's historic career was kind of underwhelming. He had 1 touchdown and 2 turnovers, although to be fair, the game was basically played in a monsoon. Peyton essentially won this award by default. Dominic Rhodes could have also won it for his 113 yards rushing, or Joseph Adai, who had 143 yards from scrimmage. In the end, the big-name quarterback got it again. Grade D. Super Bowl 42, Eli Manning. Eli won this award for his heroics in the fourth quarter to vanquish the undefeated Patriots. Would he still have won this if there wasn't a piece of gum attached to David Tyree's helmet? Who knows? Probably not. But he got the job done, albeit with some very lucky breaks. Unfortunately, the first 3 quarters also happened, so Eli's lackluster performance there drops his grade down a bit. Grade B-. Super Bowl 43, Santonio Holmes. Holmes won this award thanks to his monster performance on the game-winning drive, which is capped off with the famous toe-tap touchdown that is arguably the greatest catch in NFL history. Once you include a catch of that magnitude along with 9 catches of 131 yards overall, it was a somewhat easy decision to give him this award. Grade A-. Super Bowl 44, Drew Brees. Brees had an interesting Super Bowl performance. He dinked and dunked his way to a very efficient performance, but this game will always be remembered more for New Orleans' onside kick to start the second half and Tracy Porter's pick 6 off of Peyton Manning to seal the game. An easily forgotten outing by a legendary quarterback. Grade B+. Super Bowl 45, Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers can be criticized for only making 1 Super Bowl in his career, but nobody can deny he balled out in his one showing. His raw stats of 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions are already great, but they would have been even better if not for several egregious drops by his receivers. Going by the eye test, Rodgers might have had a top 2 or 3 Super Bowl performance ever by a quarterback. It's just a shame we never saw him on this stage again. Grade A+. Super Bowl 46, Eli Manning. Much like Super Bowl 42, Eli's Super Bowl 46 performance is most memorable for his game-winning drive, which included a ridiculous throw to Mario Manningham. His overall performance in this game was very good and steady, although several Giants drives stalled in the red zone. Regardless, Eli, with the help from his defense, got the job done when it mattered most once again. Thank you, Eli. Grade B+. Super Bowl 47, Joe Flacco. Flacco's 2012 playoff run still boggles the mind and defies reality. Thanks, Raheem Moore. And it was capped off by a 3-touchdown Super Bowl MVP performance. Flacco's 3 touchdown passes all came in the first half to help Baltimore get out to a huge lead that they barely hung on to win. Shout out to the Superdome Lights operator, too. Grade B+. Super Bowl 48, Malcolm Smith. Much like Larry Brown and Dexter Jackson before him, Malcolm Smith remains one of the all-time most random Super Bowl MVPs. That's not to say his award wasn't deserved, although he was pretty much in the right place at the right time on his 69-yard pick six, nice, and fumble recovery. He also had 10 tackles for good measure. Congrats to Malcolm. Grade C. Super Bowl 49, Tom Brady. Super Bowl 49 was a classic Brady performance. He was bad for the first 3 quarters, committing 2 turnovers to help put his team in a 10-point hole, but he got it going in the 4th quarter with tons of short throws to rally his team to a late lead. I would have seriously given consideration to Malcolm Butler for Super Bowl MVP, considering the fact that he literally made the biggest interception in NFL history, as well as 3 pass deflections. However, Brady came through big in the clutch, so whatever, I guess. Grade A-. Super Bowl 50, Von Miller. Miller had one of the greatest defensive performances of all time in Super Bowl 50 to help carry Peyton Manning's corpse to his 2nd ring. Miller had 6 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, one of which was recovered for a Denver touchdown, and another which set up Denver's offense deep inside Carolina territory. Simply put, Miller was sublime. Grade A+. Super Bowl 51, Tom Brady. Ah yes, Super Bowl 51, the game that still pisses me off more than any other game in sports history. Brady was pretty bad through 3 quarters once again, including a brutal pick six, and generally looked rattled. But then he did what he does best in the 4th quarter and overtime, throw a bunch of short, quick passes, as well as willing his opponent to completely melt down to lead a historic comeback. As much as I hate Brady, and as much as I hate Atlanta for choking away this game, it must be said Brady took advantage of his opponent's mistakes better than anybody, and he deserves credit for that. It makes me puke. Fuck the Falcons for this. Grade A. Super Bowl 52, Nick Foles. Foles channeled his inner Joe Flacco to lead one of the greatest what-the-fuck playoff runs ever in 2017, capped off with a brilliant performance in Super Bowl 52 that included 373 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a memorable touchdown catch on the Philly special. Foles was simply unreal in this game, dropping dimes left and right. Even his 1 interception was a throw that should have been caught. Not even Brady's luck was powerful enough to overcome the sheer size of Foles' penis. Legend. Grade A+. Super Bowl 53, Julian Edelman. Super Bowl 53 was a terrible game between 2 teams that shouldn't have even been there. But alas, somebody had to win Super Bowl MVP, so who better than Edelman, who was suspended for the first 4 games of the 2018 season for PED use. Edelman did his usual shit where he got wide open somehow on big downs to the tune of 10 catches and 141 yards. A very good performance from a gritty, hard worker, sneaky, athletic gym rat. Grade B-. Super Bowl 54, Patrick Mahomes. A great example of a quarterback winning Super Bowl MVP by default. Mahomes was pretty bad through 3 quarters before finally waking up in the latter part of the 4th to lead Kansas City to victory. Overall, Mahomes had 3 touchdowns total, but also 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. It was a pretty sloppy performance, and quite frankly, he was lucky his defense stiffened up in crunch time. No offense to men with erectile dysfunction, and that Jimmy Garoppolo missed Emmanuel Sanders on a huge throw late in the 4th quarter. Grade D. Super Bowl 55, Tom Brady. Brady's efficiency was great in this blowout win over Kansas City, as he continued to execute his patented dink and dunk shit that for some reason defenses could never figure out. This was one of the worst Super Bowls ever to watch, and Brady really didn't do anything impressive or jaw-dropping, but the motherfucker's style of play was just ruthlessly effective, and I hate it. I hate that this guy will likely be the GOAT forever. I'm gonna inject lots of marijuanas now. Thanks. Grade A-. Super Bowl 56, Cooper Kupp. When including the postseason and team accomplishments, Cooper Kupp had arguably the greatest season by any wide receiver ever in 2021, and he capped it off with a clutch performance in Super Bowl 56. He had 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown reception, as well as a clutch 7-yard run on 4th down on the game-winning drive. Simply put, Kupp is a monster. An unstoppable monster that you want your daughter to date. If you see this, Cooper, please date my daughter. Okay, fine, I don't have a daughter, but if I did, I'd like you to date her. Grade B-.